They are really pumping out these Tekken 8 character trailers now, no doubt in the run-up to the upcoming alpha test at EVO Japan in just a few days. So here's some quick impressions on the stuff that really jumped out to me about the recent Lars, Jack, and Jun trailers. First up, Lars. After watching the Jin trailer and seeing all the Larsy backflips, I thought to myself, well then, how is Lars, Lion of the Rebel Lion, going to stand out then? Is he going to do double, triple, quadruple backflips? As the main poster boy for Tekken though, Jin is quite a flexible character in that he represents the overall tone and atmosphere of each game that he's in. For example, Tekken 4 went for a more realistic, down-to-earth art direction, and so Jin ditches the gamified Mishima Ryu karate and instead uses techniques based on real Kyokushin karate. Tekken 8 is clearly going for a much more fictionalized, over-the-top approach to martial arts though, and again, Jin adapts with all this stuff. Lars has been anime right from the very start, and has stayed consistent to that vision throughout. Both aesthetically and perhaps even mechanically, Tekken 8 is Lars's game. Why I say mechanically is that there's clearly a reduced focus on counter hits in Tekken 8 and more on mix-ups, and Lars's main weakness was a lack of counter hits, whilst he focused on mix-ups, which by the way look a lot stronger here. It's great to see the devs again reusing previously useless but cool-looking moves into something actionable and practical. Here, Lars's low and dive kick from his demon flip, avalanche spike and avalanche stomp respectively, have been reworked into a powerful low from crouching and combo ender here. On the topic of counter hits, I also wonder if counter hit fishing is instead going to be replaced with heat engager fishing. So instead of fishing for guaranteed damage, you instead fish for powerful mix-up potential which might lead into a lot of damage, but it's no guarantee. If so, I'm really on board with that idea since it reinforces player agency. Next up, Jack 8. The dream is dead. What else is also dead is probably Gigas. Jack is clearly pilfering a few moves from the Red Giant, including something that looks a bit like his iconic power crush, Enraged Howl. Of course, going into Tekken 8, I think we were all expecting a reduced roster, given how detailed and expensive all these models look, and I think quite a few of the Tekken 7 newcomers are probably not going to be here. I'd say the character that has the best chance though is Claudio, both because he was one of the more unique and interesting newcomers to Tekken 7, but also because of his potential connection to Jun, which we'll explore later. One more thing of note is that you can usually sidestep left a jackhammer in this situation, but they clearly showed that you can't anymore. There was another similar example of a death fist setup you could sidestep in Tekken 7, but can't in Tekken 8 for the Paul trailer. This could well be an indication that movement has again been nerfed, but it is something I want to look into depending on how much time I get with Tekken 8 at EVO Japan. I think it's important to remember here though that they're clearly going for a new, as explicitly stated many times, more aggressive direction with Tekken 8, and also clearly aiming for a new market here, so I wouldn't be surprised. One more thing to note though about the jackhammer is that it doesn't lead into a launch anymore, but instead a new stance transition on hit into a mix-up. Again, we see a greater focus on mix-ups over guaranteed damage, which I'm personally all for. Finally, Jun is looking fantastic. I wasn't initially sure about the gloves on her design. I thought they looked a bit cabaret-ish, but seeing it all in motion, she's just beautiful. One thing I noticed about Jun's redesign is that she has these sort of Claudio-esque markings all over her dress. So I wonder if she's a part of, or even the secret leader of his group of exorcists, the Archers of Sirius. Would very much make sense regarding her character motivations and explain what she's been doing for the past 20 years. Also, I love what Jun immediately does after being finally reunited with Kazuya after all this time. Also, just to point it out, Kazuya has an enormous ass. Nani? Anyway, I really like this renewed focus on lore and character interactions. This looks like a unique intro between Jun and Kazuya. And if you look at, for example, Mortal Kombat 11, which was full of these, just check out the YouTube videos that showcase them. They have millions of views, and it's such an important way of engaging a broader audience. I'm really glad Bandai Namco is focusing on world, lore, and character building again. Not just out of market considerations, but it's also important that these characters feel fleshed out, because characters are what run fighting games. They lie at the core and the base of their appeal. In Tekken 7, this all felt like a bit of an afterthought, and I thought that was a massive, massive mistake, perhaps necessitated somewhat by budget restrictions. But again, I'm so glad that Tekken 8 seems to have the care and visual fidelity of a proper AAA project here. I missed the days when fighting games were visual showcases, and I think it's one of the big reasons the genre kind of fell asleep for a while. And together with a stronger overall vision for these games and better understanding from developers that they need to offer players a complete modern package, then it's looking like we're quite possibly on the precipice of another golden age for fighting games. Exciting times. Anyway, back to Jun. She's just so different here from Tekken Tag Tournament 2, with so many new moves that I don't even know where to start. A few key things is that, similar to Jin, she seems to have fused with her dark alter ego, Unknown. But instead of spikes, she uses beams of light. Demon Slayer is no longer a launcher, but instead a heat string. I imagine if they bring Asuka back, and they will because she's insanely popular, with maybe a launching Demon Slayer for variation. I imagine Armor King is probably going to have a similar role as regards to DLC, by the way. A few more things: Jun has a Hell Sweep from Genjutsu stance while heated up now, and a Wall Splat from jabs. And for anyone who didn't play Tag 2, mark my words, you will grow to hate this move. An interesting thing that Michael Murray hinted at on Twitter is that Jun might even have a healing mechanic. If so, that's really interesting, and I'm loving what seems like a real commitment to making each character stand out mechanically. Also, one unifying thing between all these trailers is that the rage arts are sick. They're really stepping these up now. Also, the sound design on Jun's one is just mwah. Just awesome. I'm super excited to be playing Tekken 8 in just a few short days at EVO Japan. Massive shout out to Markman for arranging that. I'd like to make a video going into that in a bit more detail tomorrow if I have time before I fly off. Please let me know what you thought of the recent barrage of trailers, and if there's anything you'd like me to test at EVO Japan. I don't know how much time I'll have with Tekken 8 right now though. Anyway, take care all, and thank you for watching. I'll catch you again either tomorrow or next week after I get back from EVO Japan. Have an excellent day.